Hello everybody watching on YouTube. I'm doing a little bit something a little bit fun today. It's like totally not really anything actually like huge for the game because it's kind of just based on something I saw on a post in the subreddit, the Arkham Horror card game subreddit. That was people like, if you could design a campaign choosing from all the campaigns in order. It's like a scenario, what's your favorite scenario 1, your favorite scenario 2, your favorite scenario 3, all the way to scenario 8. What would be your perfect campaign? So I thought, hey, this could be kind of fun to build my perfect campaign in Arkham, quote unquote. So what's my favorite scenario 1, what's my favorite scenario all the way to scenario 8. So it's super chill. It's just going to be a fun discussion video. I'm here live on Twitch recording this right now, so chat discourse will be here as well. And we're going to set a few ground rules as we get started. The first and most notable one, Heart of the Elders, is going to count as one scenario. A and B, they're going to count as one scenario. So Heart of the Elders is the thing. This is also mainly because if I don't, it adds a 9th scenario into things. Don't want to get there. And Heart of the Elders isn't going to make it. Extracurricular activity in the House Always Wins. They aren't going to make it. So we don't even need to worry about those ones and how they're going to match here. In the Circle Undone, we have the prologue. Not part of this list. Not part of this list. Dream Eaters, we're going to place them in standard Dreamer's Companion, Dreamer Companion, Dreamer Companion, Dreamer Companion for the whole thing. So I think what we need to do is we're going to just go in order. For the number 1, some of my favorite ones, the ones that I actually really like, I really like me some Big Butt Baby. So the first scenario of Carcosa is one of my favorite first scenarios in the entire game. I think it is a really good time, so I'm going to put it over here as like I'm going to save this one right now. House Always Wins and extracurricular activity. Not the best. They're fine. They're fine, but they're not like my favorites. I do think they're both like House Always Wins is very flavorfully fun, but not too exciting. Untamed Wilds. I'm a little bit hotter on Untamed Wilds than I was back in the day. I think it is a little bit nicer than what I originally gave it credit for, but it's still not my favorite. The only ones that are in contention are Beyond the Gates of Sleep and Pit of Despair. So, Beyond the Gates of Sleep, I might get some heat from this from Travis, if he ever watches this. But I don't know if I like this one as much. It's very linear. And like, yeah, Curtain Call is also very linear, but it doesn't feel as linear as Beyond the Gates of Sleep, right? Because in this first one, like the first 3 or 4 turns of the game for you are dictated. You have to climb down the steps, you have to talk to the 2 old geezers, and then you get to the woods. And then you get to the woods. Like, the woods is the fun part. The woods is the really fun part. The steps, I imagine, has to do with like the literature and the story for it, but I'm kind of sick and tired of that. Pit of Despair, in my mind, is a good contender for a very fun first scenario. Do I think it beats Curtain Call if I had to choose one to play? No. Curtain Call is going to be our number 1. Boom. And as Tasty Toe says, I think that is no surprise. Number 2s, let's talk about them. Midnight Masks, I think, is a good second scenario. The Last King, great second scenario. Forgotten Ages, The Doom of Etzli, fun second scenario when you go through the temple. A little bit too stressful for me. This one, At Death's Doorstep. I like At Death's Doorstep. I'll put it over here, just as we get to the short list. Spoiler alert, it's probably not going to make it because Waking Nightmare is a really good second scenario, playing it in order. I just think it's one of my favorite opening scenarios, even though it's right here, it's listed as number 2, so it's probably not going to make it there, but I do think that is like the one I want. And I'm not a big fan of Vanishing of Eleanor Harper. I just wanted to put At Death's Doorstep here. The Last King is also up here. It's my top 3 are probably Waking Nightmare, The Last King, and At Death's Doorstep. But I'm going to put Waking Nightmare over here, I think, as our number 2. Okay, now we get to some fun stuff. Boundary Beyond, this is pretty much deleted at this point. We're not even going to look at that. The Miskatonic Museum, please. Snoozy, don't like, not fun. Echoes of the Past, boring, yucky, poo-poo, no like. We get to the Forgotten Age, we got a great scenario here. Threads of Fate is a winning scenario. Top tier. Over here, Secret Name, I'll put it on the list. I'll put it on the list. Do I think it's going to make it? Probably not, but I should at least acknowledge it, right? Then we got Search for Kadath. Oh man, there are some good some good third scenarios. And then we have In Too Deep. Okay, these are good. Oh, this is tough, chat. This is tough. Okay. Flavorfully, Search for Kadath, I think, is really fun. But the problem is with Search for Kadath is that it's also incredibly linear after repeated playthroughs. It's very good. I really like this scenario. But the previous times I've played it, it's kind of really gotten boring. I think looking at this, I can get rid of the Secret Name. I think that's no longer in contention. This is tricky. This is tricky. I'm kind of right there with you, Theo. It's between... Honestly, these are all 3 really good scenarios. I think, though, it's going to be between these 2. I think I'm going to go with Threads of Fate. I think I like Threads of Fate a bit more than Search. And, like, this is... I still really like Search for Kadath. I still think it's, like, one of my favorite scenarios. Oh, man, this is tough. I think it's Threads of Fate. I do. I feel confident in this. I feel confident in Threads of Fate. I'm digging that one. We're digging it. All right, scenario 4, Essex County Express. No, thank you. And honestly, sorry everybody, we already have a winner. Just so everybody knows, I apologize in advance. But let's look at everyone else to see what there is. Essex County Express. Boundary Beyond? No, thank you. The Wages of Sin, the one where you have to escort the ghosts all over Old Arkham? No thanks. Poopy. Over here, 1,000 Shapes of Horror. I think this is the worst scenario in Dream Eaters. 1,000 Shapes of Horror. I think this scenario is kind of bad. So no, not that one either. And then we got Devil Reef. Oh my god, actually this isn't even a competition. Sorry, this isn't even a competition. This is The Unspeakable Oath. That's the winner right here. This is a great scenario. Probably one of my favorite scenarios, probably one of the best scenarios in the entirety of Arkham Horror, the card game. Absolutely fantastic scenario. This is looking pretty sick, though, so far. It's looking pretty good. Worst in Dream Eater is still top tier, though? I don't think so. I think 1,000 Shapes of Horror is kind of a bad scenario. I think it's just kind of boring. As opposed to Point of No Return, which I also think is on the lower side, it is still not that enjoyable, but at least Point of No Return has a fun gimmick to it. Okay, we're on scenario 5. We got some winners here. Blood on the Altar. I really like this scenario. Phantom of Truth. I don't think it's in contention. I love the lore of this one, but I think the gameplay is a little bit stressed. You know what? It's made it. I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, this can make it. Let's put it on the short list. City of, no, this is Heart of the Elders. 2, 3, 4, 5. Heart of the Elders, no thank you. But it's super expensive. It must be good. That's true. We have For the Greater Good here. I don't like this scenario that much anymore, so we're not going to take it. This one is Dark Side of the Moon. This is the one with the panic levels. And you have to go down and then back up. I think this one has gotten worse for me as I've played more. Because it's just so painfully linear. It's just so painfully the same thing every time. And it has walls, progression walls that you need to hit in order to get through. And it's just not that one for me. Horror in High Gear? No. Congratulations, Blood on the Altar. You are my number 5. This is a great campaign so far. I'm having a great time with this. This is a winner. This is an absolute winner. Okay, we're on scenario 6. We're killing it. We're having a great time. Undimensioned and Unseen, no thank you. The Pallid Mask, I think it's a good scenario. I don't think it's like top tier, but I think it's good. City of Archives, I am less hot on this one than I was before. You know, I'm glad people like Horror in High Gear. I'm happy. I'm happy for that. And I'm happy for the scenario too, because me and it are not good friends. Union and Disillusion, more like snooze and snooze some more. Point of No Return. Nope, I know. I just said I don't like that one. And then we have number 6 is A Light in the Fog. Interesting. Interesting for this one. But Blood is easily my second best out of the 5th. All right, Theo, this is the one where we meet in the middle and we just like, heck yeah, heck yeah. City of Archives, worst scenario in the game. A lot of people don't like City of Archives. Yeah, no, I agree with you as well, DeFustel. There's no like top tier scenario here. A lot of people don't like City of Archives, and I mean, I get it in theory, because it kind of goes with the intention of what I was saying earlier, of, not earlier, but a few days ago when we played Horror in High Gear, Lyle and I, where it makes you play a very certain way. I do get lucky that City of Archives is played in the way that is my style, right? Like a skill-based investigator does very, very good in the City of Archives. So I've never really had a hard time with it. But I can see how it's not everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, that's what I see as well, Chain Dreamer. I like it. I don't love it as much as I used to. But I mean, we did get the perfect ending with our draft decks, so I don't think you actually need to build for it like everyone says you do. Because we did it with our draft decks. We can get it out of here, though, because I don't think it beats these two. This is a tough choice, actually. All right, so I've only played A Light in the Fog twice. I like the flavor of it. I think it has to be the Pallid Mask for me. There's just a bit more in it. It just, oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God. There's just more in it, right? Like, the replayability of the Catacombs is different each time, and the layout subtly changes the way things are played. Sometimes you can get really in trouble where you have the the old men, the docents, turn into the monsters. I think it's the best one of those here. All right, scenario 7. We're killing it. We're doing great. We have Where Doom Awaits. No like. Black Stars Rise. It's fine. It's a fine scenario. Depths of Yoth? Killer scenario. I mean, that's true for the tidal tunnels too. The tidal tunnels don't change their layout that much. It's very tiny amounts of change, right? With your map layout in Pallid Mask is different each time. I've had ones where it's been like a big sprawling thing, or like a big collection of things. I've had one where it's been like a straight line, so then you get choked by the monster. It provides replayability in the ways that a fixed map doesn't. And it does it in a much more elegant way than something like the Explore mechanic in all this other stuff does. Clutches the Chaos? No. No thank you. No thank you. I like Where the Gods Dwell. I like this one. And call me crazy, but I think the Lair of Dagon, I liked it a bit more. I got lagged on the fog again. I need to give a Lair of Dagon its time in the sun. I think Lair of Dagon wasn't as boring as I thought it was. But I think this one's an easy Depths of Yoth. Yeah. I just think it's the best one here. Where Gods the Dwell is fine. It's like cool. I wish. I think the Nyarlathotep mechanic is really neat, but it feels that same problem of linearity that a lot of these Dream Eaters one have for me. And like you can argue, yes, like all of these are linear, but I really feel the gated progression system of the Dream Eaters one a lot. All right, number 8, Lost in Time and Space, really good. Dim Carcosa, fantastic scenario. The Forgotten Age, Shattered Aeons, not great. Not great. You know what, I'm just going to grab all these, grab all the ones. I can already tell you who the top 3 are going to be, though. For the Black Throne, one of the most doom-feeling final scenarios exist. Weaver of the Cosmos, I'm kind of over that one. I've only played this one once, Into the Maelstrom, and it was too easy, so it's not going to make my top 3. So here's my top 3. Didn't you put Before the Black Throne as my number 1 scenario? I think it was my number 3 scenario. I think it was my number 3. So yeah, we knew. We'll strip the veil back. We'll pull back the curtain. Before the Black Throne is gonna be my number 1. It's gonna be right here. But let's just pretend we're not there yet. Lost in Time and Space is good. It's my least favorite of the 3, though. The mechanic of the things coming out of the deck can really change the scenario from scenario to scenario, which is really cool. Which what Dice Gods is saying. Before the Black Throne does have that problem where the random chance, and like sometimes you just stomp it, sometimes, most of the times, it stomps you. It was your 7th on the list. Wow. Well, hopefully Dim Carcosa wasn't before it. But I mean, like, also, the opinions change as we go, as I play more. I made that list like in the summer, or like even earlier. I don't even remember when we made those tier lists. But that one was after? Ah, perfect. Okay, we've nailed it then. Consistency. Consistency. Okay. Oh no. Let's put them all in their spot. Okay, so here is my quote-unquote perfect campaign. We have Curtain Call from Carcosa as number 1. I like this scenario a lot. Big Butt Baby. The mood on it is also really nice. Waking Nightmare. Great scenario. This is my number 2. I like the spiders. The mood of it is also really creepy crawly. You can just like feel the sound. Like you can just, while you're playing, you can hear the sound of just like spider legs plucking violin strings. Just well, you did put Midnight Mask as your number 4 scenario, but I agree. As you play the Dream Eater more, that creeps up on the list. Yeah, and also like, I think if we look at that, I do think that Midnight Masks is a better scenario than Waking Nightmare from the design. But I think Waking Nightmare is more of my favorite scenario, if that makes sense. If I had to choose one that I wanted to play in this list, I would choose that one. Threads of Fate is also pretty cool. I really like this. The third scenario has gotten a lot better, except from these ones have kind of been kind of poopy. But then all the other third scenarios were actually really strong. There was a lot of great options there. This could be the Search for Kadath, depending on the day you ask me, of course. Unspeakable Oath, easy 4th. One of my favorite scenarios in the game. Same with Blood on the Altar as number 5. One of my favorite scenarios in the game. I love the feeling of both of these scenarios. The mood in them are both incredible. Yeah, that is what we're gonna do. We're going to we'll do the story for all this. I like it. I like that. Palette Mask is the number 6. As we kind of realize, the 6th spot is actually kind of weak for me. There's not too many standouts in the 6th spot. Depths of Yoth is a great penultimate scenario. Really like it. And then Before the Black Throne is my favorite finisher. So as Dufal still staying here, going from play to Arkham to a hospital, then travel around town. You then head to Arkham Asylum, and all of a sudden you're in Dunwich. Then you're at the Catacombs of Paris, then underground Mexico, and then space. Very traveled up the 4th scenario. Yeah, it's just like Arkham, and then visiting all the others. So I must ask for everyone who's watching this video, why don't you let me know what your perfect, quote-unquote, campaign would be? If you could choose something for each of the 8 spots, what would they be? And what do you think of mine? Should I play this as a scenario sometime, just as a continual standalones? That could be kind of fun, actually. I can play my perfect campaign sometime. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. That would be cool. No, Dice Gods, I think you're right. I think that would actually be a very fun thing to do, playing this as a campaign, just with standalone rules for all of them. But the decks can carry over from one to the other. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that on the channel. And if you want to see it on Twitch, I'll do it. Are any of those reliant on choice? I don't think so. I think all of them can be played standalone. I mean, every scenario can be played standalone here. So we can do that. Huge thank you to our patrons for supporting the channel. It means the world to us. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.